DorkLair.
Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Action Force Swarm Trooper and Swarm Gear Pack from Valaverse. So from this wave, I would definitely say the Swarm Trooper is my favorite figure. I love the overall design of it. I love the very heavy sci-fi element going on with it. And I'm big into the color yellow and black. I do have almost like a little bit of like a wasp themed collection going on with a few different lines mixing together. So yeah, this is my favorite one from the wave. And it's not just the visuals. I also really like all of the articulation, all the accessories. Of course, we have a figure and an accessory pack going on here. So I think, it's maybe the figure was $30 and the pack was 20, something along those lines. And I do have some gripes still. Kind of the same thing as the last figure. It's really a pain in the butt to plug these pegs in on the vest. Not a deal breaker, but, just kind of a pain. And then also, the plastic, I'm still not a huge fan of the plastic going on here on some of the parts of this figure. But overall, pretty darn happy with this figure. The articulation is nuts on these things. It is a really great articulation scheme. They move pretty smoothly, and I do like the paint and the finishes, and the sculpts are fantastic. So let's get into this review. And then here's a quick look at the packaging. Pretty standard window box style packaging for the figure. On the back, we have a bio card with some classified information here. We got those Action Force points. And so yeah, pretty standard box. I do love the artwork. So this artwork kind of matches up with this artwork here. And this is the accessory kit. And you can kind of see the 4 items that come in the accessory pack over here with some more art on the side, and then exactly what comes in the pack right there. Okay, let's take a look at the paint and the details on the Swarm Trooper. I really love the overall style and aesthetic of this figure. This vest is an overlay piece, and I can take that off after. It's one of my gripes. These pegs in the back over here are a real pain to get in. And somebody had said, hey, it's a good thing that they're a pain to get in because it means they won't come out easily. It's actually not true. They pop off very easily. So there's just a lot of frustration going on with those. And I'm happy for anybody who finds this to be pleasing or whatever, but I just don't love the way that these pegs work. They're not great. But that's one of the few gripes I have. Overall, I think the figure's awesome. I think the paint's clean. I love all the metallics going on. There is a bit of that kind of shiny plastic feel to it, and it's coupled with the very rigid, brittle feeling. I don't know if it's exactly brittle, but it feels kind of brittle, this type of plastic that they're using, especially on the torso area. But it's a very hard plastic. And cool belt going on here. So this is like a softer piece that you can kind of move and manipulate. If you pulled the figure apart, you could definitely take this off and then use it to do some part swaps and custom figures and so on. It's got a holster that is, I think it's glued on there. I haven't really tried to remove it. I don't want to break it if it's not glued. I don't think, it doesn't come off terribly easily, so I think it might be glued. If you know, let me know in the comments so I can actually remove it if possible. Pretty cool looking, almost robotic looking boots here, and some paint details going on. So just overall, this is a really cool looking soldier here. I wish I could army build it a little bit, but I don't know if I'm going to go for it. Maybe I'll get a second one. But the figure with the kit, it's like a $50 proposition. So it's, it's a little pricey just because you really want to get those wings with it. It just adds a lot to the figure. Next up, let's take a look at the Swarm Trooper next to a couple other figures. First up, these are his wave mates from Series 1. On the right is Karak, and on the left is the Steel Brigade, but I actually put Norman Osborn head from the Green Goblin Marvel Legends classic or retro figure on there. And it actually fits kind of perfect and looks pretty good on that figure. It almost makes this look like Condor, but it's a pretty good fit. And then next up, we have a couple other stingers over here. On the left, we have Buzz-Off from Masters of the Universe Classics. And on the right, we have the Gomez Golden Dragon. And there's the Green Goblin. Here's a couple Hasbro figures. Marvel Legends on the left, G.I. Joe Classified on the right. And next up, On the right, we have Thalen Frostbow, a 2.0 style elf from Mythic Legions. And on the left is the Mafex Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett, which I just picked up for $250. I'm super pumped because I know they're never going to release it ever again, and it's going to be $500 one day, and that's the best investment I've ever made. And now for the accessories. I love these stands. I think they're great. They have a nice metallic sheen to them, and they have 4 pegs, so you can get a variety of poses, and they're nice and big and sturdy. These are great stands, and I'll get to the other one that comes with the accessory pack in a minute. And he does come with a couple guns. He has this longer piece right here, and then he has a handgun right here. Pretty cool paintwork to match the figure. And then he's got this very small knife with that pretty clean silver touch on the blade right there. On the figure, there's a pair of fists with a horizontal hinge, a pair of regular gripping hands with a horizontal hinge, a pair of trigger hands with vertical hinges, a pair of trigger hands with vertical hinges, and a pair of cradling hands with horizontal hinges. And the gear set comes with this variation stand, so it's got a clear yellow plastic, but it's the same mold. Comes with it almost like a SWAT shield, so it kind of makes sense. The Swarm, the SWAT team, Swarm with the handle. I kind of feel like a shield like this should have a handle like vertically right here, but I do like the way this works. So if you kind of have it in his hand down and then he lifts it up to defend, you have it in that kind of correct look. And then here's the wing set. This is really cool. Has that wasp kind of look to it. And actually these wings articulate and they can go this far up. And then here's the underside. There's some detail in there as well. And then these 2 other guns that come in the set. So a lot of great options with this figure. Last but not least, the articulation, which I think is the highlight of these figures. They have great range of motion. They move really well. They're very, I think one of the benefits of the stiffness of these figures is that they hold a pose well and they kind of have like a nice balance and stability to them. So let's get into this articulation. I'm going to start by just showing you the vest. So the vest does not really, for this figure, it doesn't get in the way very much at all of the articulation, so I can kind of leave it on if I so choose, but I just want to show you how these pegs work or don't work. So these pegs come off right here, and you saw how easy that was to get that out of there, but now it's like really difficult to get back in. Like it looks like it's in there, but it's just like I can barely touch it and it pops right out. So it's, you know, it's not great. This one's not as bad as the other figure because the other one had 2 pegs like right in that same spot. But yeah, these are tough to use. My trick that I've been using now is get out a hairdryer, heat up this part of it, try to keep this part kind of stiff, heat up this part of it over here, grab some tweezers, stretch this down, and sort of work it in. If you have the vest off, it's easy to do, pretty much. Like you can just really stretch and pull. You could even kind of grab the peg from the other side with the tweezers and pull it through. But kind of stretching that down, pegging it in like this is sort of how I do it. But you'll see, like as I articulate the figure, these are gonna pop off. But the vest doesn't hinder the articulation on this one the same way it does on the Steel Brigade, because the Steel Brigade vest comes all the way down and really gets in the way of some of that awesome torso articulation. Anyway, that's the vest. Here comes the head. So the head for a flyer looks up pretty well. That's a great job looking up, and it looks down this far. In fact, let me show you something real quick. I'm going to pop that head off and see if I can get a shot of that. You can see I do kind of have a little bit of that separation happening again at the torso, but it's not getting worse or anything, so I don't think it's a problem. It's just, you know, there's a seam there, but it's not too bad. And that gives you a look at the articulation. So you have this really ample swing right here, ball joint, ball peg at the top, and then that pops right on. And so you have upward range, downward range, just a little bit of side to side. One of the issues is when you turn it to the side, you can't get the head to kind of cock back over to the side a little bit, but you know, it will spin all the way around. Really nice butterfly joint in the shoulder. Just a ton of range of motion there. He can swing his arm up about this far. There is a little bit of a different sculpt here on the shoulder, so it's not quite as high as the other figure that I reviewed last time. There is a bicep swivel, moves really well. Double jointed elbows, just crazy range of motion in those elbows there. And then you have a, a twist. This particular hand has the horizontal hinge. All the other hands have horizontal except for the trigger hands, which appropriately have the vertical going that way. Here he is with the shoulders all the way back and then the shoulders all the way forward. So that butterfly is good. Like, that is not the shoulder joint moving, that's the butterfly joint. And if the articulation is the highlight of the figure, the highlight of the articulation has got to be these torso joints. You have a ball at the top of the torso and a ball at the bottom, and it is just an awesome range. And there you can see this is popping off, so I'm just going to pull this thing right off. Give you a look at the body too. But there we go. Okay, so now he looks like Ant-Man. Yellow Ant-Man over here. And so yeah, so swinging back and forth that way, cocking, but rocking side to side, just a ton of motion. And he moves well. Like, it'll hold a pose nicely and like move really easily. It's pretty cool. Nice hips that drop down, up and down. So when you bring him down, he can kick way out. You just got to watch out for that piece here that's coming off the belt. But once you get that out of the way, you can kick way up. He can kick back. There's a twist at the top of the thigh. He can do a kick back all the way to here. Kind of crazy, crazy range right there. It's awesome. And unlike the Steel Brigade, there's no boot cut, so there's no twist over here. For the feet, there's a peg above the ankle, so that twists. Then there's a hinge at the ankle and a pivot in there as well, so that you can get those feet cocked over to the side like that. And I don't think I showed you the splits, but yeah, he can go way out into the splits as well. So fantastic range of motion. Couple little gripes. I don't love this super stiff hard plastic. It's a design choice. It's not like, I don't think it's really a flaw. It's just a material I prefer less to something that has a little more give, just a little bit more give, like what the arms are made out of, But besides that, the pegs on the vest are a pain. And other than that, it's a pretty solid figure. It's a really cool looking design. The sculpt is awesome. Very creative work going on here with this character. Totally original, unique style. Good figure. I recommend it. Of the figures in the wave, I think this is the highlight of this wave, the Swarm Trooper. And I know there's like a green version that was some kind of con exclusive, but I don't have that one, just the yellow. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
Follow me into